It started with a smile. Dr. Adrian Cole had the kind of presence that immediately put people at ease. He wasn't just brilliant, he was warm, attentive, the kind of doctor who remembered patients' birthdays and asked about their grandkids. At West Haven Medical Center, he was adored. Respected. Practically untouchable. So when 10 of his patients died within 5 months, no one questioned it. At least, not at first. The deaths were spaced out. A cancer patient whose remission didn't last. An elderly woman who never woke from anesthesia. A diabetic man whose sugar levels dropped suddenly. Each incident came with its own tidy explanation. And Dr. Cole was always the one delivering it, calm and compassionate, reassuring families that everything possible was done. But beneath the surface, something didn't add up. Rachel Vega had been a night shift nurse at West Haven for 6 years. She didn't scare easily. She'd seen patients code, families break down, and doctors make mistakes. But what started as a nagging feeling quickly spiraled into something darker. Until it happened again. Patient number 8, just 2 weeks later. Same shift. Same doctor. A young man admitted for dehydration. His 4 had been running fine. Blood pressure stable. But he was found unresponsive at 4 a.m., after a late-night visit from Dr. Cole. Rachel started digging. She requested access to previous case files under the pretense of a charting error. The more she read, the more unsettled she became. In each case, the pattern repeated itself, patients who weren't in critical condition, dying shortly after Dr. Cole's solo visits. Always at night. Always without warning. She approached the charge nurse. "He's just had a bad run," her supervisor said. "These things happen." But they didn't. Not like this. The final straw came with patient number 10. A healthy, middle-aged woman named Sheila Martin. Admitted for a mild case of pneumonia. She'd been texting her husband hours before her death. Dr. Cole had ordered a new injection at 11 p.m. The dose? Potassium chloride. Electrolyte support, he wrote. Rachel raised an eyebrow when she saw the entry. Potassium chloride is rarely administered unless potassium levels are dangerously low. Sheila's blood work didn't support the dose. When she questioned it, she was told to trust the physician's judgment. Sheila died by morning. Rachel had seen enough. She went outside the hospital, contacting a journalist she knew from her college days. Together, they pulled records from Dr. Cole's previous employers. What they found made her blood run cold. 3 hospitals. 3 states. And an eerily similar trail of sudden, unexplained patient deaths. At St. Martha's in Ohio, 5 unexpected fatalities. At a private clinic in Arizona, 3 deaths under mysterious circumstances. In every case, Cole had resigned quietly. No formal investigation. No red flags. Just a clean break and glowing recommendations. Why? Because hospitals protect their own. Lawsuits are expensive. Reputations are fragile. It was easier to let him walk away than expose the rot beneath the surface. Rachel took her findings to the hospital board. They listened politely. Promised to look into it. Then, 3 days later, she was placed on administrative leave for violating patient privacy. She returned home that night to find her apartment door ajar. Nothing was stolen. Nothing obvious out of place, except for one thing. On her kitchen table was a manila folder. Inside, a photocopy of Carla Dean's chart. And a sticky note that read, "You're not safe." Terrified but undeterred, Rachel turned to Detective Paul Granger, a homicide investigator with a reputation for chasing tough leads. At first, he was skeptical. "Doctors make mistakes," he said. "That doesn't make them killers." But when Rachel shared the patient logs, the injection orders, the resignation trail, Granger's tone changed. "There's something here," he muttered. He requested the exhumation of patient number 6, a man who had died from what Cole had called a sudden cardiac event. Toxicology results revealed a massive dose of potassium chloride, lethal, and completely inconsistent with the patient's records. Now they had proof. They prepared to make their move. The plan was to quietly gather more evidence, watch Cole closely, and arrest him before he suspected anything. But they were too late. Rachel returned to her apartment the next night to find it ransacked. Drawers pulled out. Files gone. Her laptop smashed. And on her bathroom mirror, scrawled in red lipstick, "You're next." That same night, Dr. Cole didn't show up for his shift. His car was found parked outside the hospital. Keys still in the ignition. The driver's seat, empty. And in the passenger seat? A single 4-bag. Half-drained. Labeled, R. Vega. The 4-bag sat like a quiet threat. Half-drained. Labeled, R. Vega. A message, not a mistake. Rachel Vega was no longer just investigating a killer. She was being hunted by one. Detective Paul Granger stood beside the car, jaw clenched. "He's not just a doctor," he said quietly. "He's a ghost who knows how to disappear." Dr. Adrian Cole had vanished, no cell signal, no credit card trail, no security footage. It was as if the very hospital walls had opened and swallowed him. Rachel was rushed into protective custody. A motel outside the city, unmarked car out front, officers rotating shifts outside her door. But safety felt like a paper shield. Because Cole had already proven one thing. He could get close to anyone. Anytime. And no one would see him coming. Rachel couldn't sleep. Every creak outside the room, every whisper of wind against the window sent her spiraling. What if he was already here? What if he wasn't done? Then came the call that shattered her last sense of control. Nurse Tara Jenkins, Rachel's closest friend on the night shift, was found dead in her apartment. Alone. No forced entry. Cardiac arrest. Just like the others. Only this time, it was personal. At the funeral, Rachel stood at the back of the room, dark sunglasses shielding her swollen eyes. She didn't stay long. Couldn't. As she turned to leave, a folded note slipped into her coat pocket. No one had been near her. She unfolded it slowly. One line, written in surgical precision. "Wrong person. Next time, I'll make sure." Detective Granger doubled her protection. FBI joined the case. They declared Cole a fugitive, wanted for multiple counts of murder. His face hit the news. Tip lines lit up. But every lead turned cold. Then they found the storage unit. It was registered under a false name, Andrew Kell, a twist on his own. Inside were medical records. Photos. A journal. And something worse. A large corkboard covered in patient IDs, red threads running between them. At the center of the web, Rachel's face. Next to hers, another. A man named Marcus Dean. Rachel froze. "That's Carla Dean's son," she whispered. "The teacher who died." He was furious. Thought the hospital killed her. But no one believed him. Granger called it in. Marcus was missing. Days passed in silence. Then the tape arrived. No return address. No fingerprints. Just a flash drive left in the mailbox of Granger's home. They played it. The screen flickered to life, static at first. Then a single dimly lit room. In the center, Marcus Dean, tied to a hospital bed. Gagged. Eyes wide with terror. A familiar voice off-screen. Calm. Clinical. We heal the broken. Sometimes that means ending the suffering. Then came the sound of N4 being inserted. And Marcus's body going still. Rachel vomited in the sink. Granger threw a chair across the room. They had to stop this. Rachel proposed something no one wanted to hear. Use me as bait. At first, Granger refused. But Rachel had a plan, and Cole had an obsession. She checked into a fake rehab facility under the name Rebecca Vane. Her room was wired. Security posted nearby. A team watching 24/7. All they needed was for Cole to take the bait. And he did. Night 3. Rachel was reading in bed when the room went dark. Power outage. Emergency generator kicked in, except for her wing. She froze. From the hallway came soft, deliberate footsteps. She reached for the panic button. It didn't work. Then she saw him, just a silhouette in the doorway. Dr. Adrian Cole. Smiling. Rachel, he said softly, like they were old friends. You're stronger than I thought. He stepped inside. She backed away. You were supposed to be next after Carla. But you surprised me. He reached into his bag. Rachel screamed. And the door burst open. Granger. SWAT. Lights blinding. Cole turned, but too late. They tackled him to the ground, syringe flying from his hand. Rachel collapsed, sobbing. Dr. Cole was arrested. Charged with 11 counts of first-degree murder. Additional charges pending. The media called him the Angel of Silence. But to Rachel, he was just a coward in a white coat. He remained eerily calm in every courtroom appearance. No remorse. No emotion. He even smiled at Rachel once from the stand. She stopped sleeping altogether after that. 3 months later, Rachel stood outside West Haven for the last time. She had handed in her resignation. Too many ghosts in those halls. Tara. Carla. Marcus. All gone. But even in justice, peace didn't come easy. Because just before Cole's trial began, he escaped. It happened during a routine transport. A fake medical emergency. An intercepted ambulance. 2 officers drugged. Cole missing. Gone again. Like smoke through fingers. And left behind, in the back of the transport van. A note written on hospital chart paper. Every doctor has unfinished business. Dr. Adrian Cole vanished like a whisper. A fake seizure in the back of a prison transport van. 2 unconscious guards. No cameras working on that stretch of road. No one saw the handoff. No one saw him go. But everyone knew he'd be back. Especially Rachel Vega. She never left town. Never changed her name. She didn't run. Because this time, she was done being prey. For 6 months, there was silence. No new victims. No anonymous notes. No late-night calls. The world moved on. The media dropped the story. People forgot. But Rachel didn't. Every night, she dreamt of hospital rooms drenched in shadow. The cold touch of N4. Cole's voice whispering, "This is mercy." And then, one morning, she got a letter. No envelope. Just folded paper slipped under her door. I've been watching. The final patient is ready. Come alone. Or more will suffer. An address scribbled beneath it. It was the old psychiatric wing of West Haven Medical, abandoned since the fire 10 years ago. A place filled with decay, broken glass, and memories. Rachel stared at the note. This was it. She didn't tell Granger. He had moved to a federal task force. Still hunted Cole, but had no leads. Rachel knew the truth. Cole wanted her to end this. No police. No trap. Just him. And her. And whatever unfinished horror he had planned. So she went. The sun was setting as she pulled up to the crumbling building. The front doors creaked open with a groan that echoed through the dead corridors. Inside, the air smelled of rot and dust. She stepped lightly. Heart pounding. The hallways were littered with old charts, cracked tiles, rusted gurneys. Then, she saw it. A room at the end of the hallway, lit by a single flickering surgical lamp. She stepped in. And froze. Marcus Dean was alive. Barely. Strapped to a table. Hooked to IVs. Pulse monitor beeping faintly. His skin pale and bruised. Rachel rushed to his side, hands trembling as she tried to undo the restraints. Then a voice behind her. Careful. He's not stable. She turned. Cole was there. Masked. Gloved. Calm as ever. I gave him just enough to keep him quiet, he said. You were always the one who cared too much. That's your weakness. Rachel stood between him and Marcus, fists clenched. You're a monster. Cole tilted his head. No. I'm a surgeon. I cut away the rot. The suffering. The weight of wasted life. You call it murder, I call it release. She shook her head. You killed innocent people. I spared them pain. His voice rose, the calm unraveling. I gave them peace. He stepped closer. This ends tonight, Rachel. One of us walks out. The other doesn't. She reached into her pocket slowly. The voice recorder was already running. Cole didn't see it. He lunged. They struggled, crashing into trays and metal stands. Rachel grabbed a defibrillator paddle and swung hard, striking him in the shoulder. He staggered, growling, before tackling her to the ground. She screamed, trying to reach Marcus, who was now barely conscious. Cole grabbed a syringe from his coat. You wanted to save lives? Save your own. He raised the needle. Bang. The shot echoed like thunder. Cole froze. Looked down. Blood spread across his chest. Behind him, Detective Granger. Gun smoking in his hand. I always hated doctors, Granger muttered. Cole collapsed. Rachel scrambled to Marcus, finally unstrapping him, sobbing. I thought you weren't coming, she whispered. Granger stepped forward, breath heavy. I tracked your car's GPS, saw the building. Figured you'd go alone. He looked down at Cole's dying body. You good, Doc? Rachel nodded, eyes wet. I'm good. Dr. Adrian Cole died before paramedics arrived. The final chapter in a killing spree that spanned states, hospitals, and victims no one even knew were connected. In the weeks that followed, investigators found more files in Cole's hideout, dozens of potential victims. People who had died under routine care. Their families finally got answers. Marcus recovered, though the trauma would haunt him forever. And Rachel? She left medicine. Moved to a quiet town. Started writing. Speaking. Telling her story. But peace comes in fragments. One evening, nearly a year later, Rachel received a package. Inside, a small black notebook. No sender. She flipped it open. It was a journal. Full of names. Dates. Symptoms. Dosages. All in Cole's handwriting. And on the last page. I wasn't the only one.